the way this works is that with the off-meta combat, you are allowed to ban 1 civ each, but 3 are already banned by default. So, Mongols, Delhi, and the Abbasids are not allowed in Dry Arabia. Specific bans, Wam banned DeMusliM from picking English. And in return for Wam doing him this great favor of not being able to pick the lowest win rate civ in the game, DeMusliM said thank you very much and banned the Rus away. So Wam, he did go for the French. That means we do have some potential early feudal aggression and a prolonged feudal situation, especially when I look at this boar. Barry the Boar over here is sitting quite centralized between the two bases. So we might actually see a boar play, especially considering it's leaning towards the DeMusliM's base. It's actually not a very long walk at all. He could easily achieve like a 4.5 minute timing with a wooden fortress down at around the 5 minutes. We'll have to see. It depends on if Wam zooms up as fast as possible in a feudal. That might kind of restrict the play a little bit for DeMusliM. But opening-wise, Wam, nothing too important for the French, right? Like, I feel like whenever I'm looking at these openings and I'm like, oh, this person got that, oh, this person got this. The French is almost the civ that I'm always just kind of like, le shrug. Do you really need much? You've got your starting resources, go harass some people, because this civ loves to play pocket ecos. Has recently been joined by the Abbasids, and also the Rus now entering the mix over the mid-map control. But that's the detail, right? If you're able to control the mid focus of the map, you can easily weave out onto these pocket eco areas and then just play risky economy. So that's what I'm looking for. With this matchup specifically, both civs have a lot of potency in feudal age. And it's who's going to actually be able to get the better side of the midfield, the first 2 fights mainly, which will allow the other player to flock out, right? Like, if you take a win those first 2 engagements, you're probably moving out the deer over here to the wood lines, the gold lines back here. If you find yourself losing those fights, all of a sudden the map gets very tiny, even when you're up against these kind of civ choices with tempo units such as the Royal Knights and Early Knights. So, something to be highlighted about the series, by the way, that I think is going to make it pretty hype. We were talking about before the game is that Puppy Paw whooped the Muslim butt. All right, like I'm gonna try to be unbiased about it, but it was a very one-sided affair. Apparently, game 1 was like is here or there. Then game 2 was dominant from Puppy Paw, and Puppy Paw and Wam are bros. They do scrim together a lot. There is a lot of similarities in their playstyle, and I think they are similarly skilled. So if the DeMusliM got 2-0'd in that fashion, you do have to question mark come this one. Like, what is his chance against Wam? Is Wam going to catch him by surprise? How much has he practiced against Wam on the leaderboards as well? And does he even realize when he's been practicing against Wam? Because this guy has so many different smurfs. He has at least 3. One of them is obvious. I believe it's called not Wam1 or Wam2, but Wam3. Then he also was the owner of Buster McScruggs, which was a dominant account at the top leaderboard. And between him and his bro, I think they must have had between 6 or 8 of the top 50 accounts for a very long time. So they're pretty lethal. So opening-wise, we are going to get the School of Cavalry, and it is going to be no mill just yet. So Wam delaying his timing. Meanwhile, DeMusliM, he does have access to the wheelbarrow. Already been researched, and this gives him access to the boar. There it is. That's what makes this play so powerful, by the way, folks. You drop your hunting cabin straight away because it's to your benefit to feed your gold eco via scouting early, which he definitely done with 305 bounty. And from there on, you already have the building required to get wheelbarrow. Not only are you generating passive gold, but you're also building your scout. So you need this building, which means compared to most civs, the Rus do tend to get into the wheelbarrow a lot quicker. And that's what makes this ball play so popular. Because you have that extra movement speed, you're able to quickly shift out, and instantly, with the additional wood incomes that you're going to be able to get in the following minutes, padding yourself with this wooden fortress and this hunting cabin isn't going to actually hurt your scalability. Instead, you're going to boom up because of the superior gathering rates on the board being, if I recall correctly, 0.9 food per second per villager, which, with 8 villagers who are happy to be here, as you just heard them say, it's only going to take them about 5.1 minutes to get through this. That's before we even equate in the harvest gathering rate. So you're probably looking at about 4.5, 4.6 minutes this rate to get through this boar. And these numbers don't make sense until I say that boar is 2k HP. Or 2k food, to be specific. Then you're like, holy cannoli. No cabin yet, though. Oh my god, Wam! Wam came out for it as well! I think he was here for the outpost now, but this is just too quick from DeMusliM. Wam, this play makes a lot of sense. What he's doing here, this works really well against the average Roost ball player, because a lot of them go for the 5 to 6 minute timing. But DeMusliM, he's optimized. Similar to what we've seen out of B, he goes for the immediate 4-minute timing into the wooden fortress, delays getting to the hunting cabin, which, by the way, isn't inefficient because look what he's doing. Each of these villages carrying 30 food. This is so big brain from Ben. And he will deny this outpost. And this is just idle economy for Wam in the middle of no man's land. And this is DeMusliM evolving the ball strategy with the new changes. So for those that maybe brushed over it because it seems like such an inconsequential difference, they made a change now so that when you are hunting on game like this on the ball, you can hold 30 food. That's if you have wheelbarrow, 25 by default. Because he's able to do this, he puts the wooden fortress down first, understanding that there's going to be little inefficiency, because by the time he's gathered up 30 food on each of these villages, he'll probably have enough for the hunting cabin. And that's why he delays its placement. It leads to next to no downtime in your eco gains, but then also ensures that someone can't come out and deny you early with a knight or an outpost. This is so smart. If it seems like I'm getting excited for a small detail, yeah, it's a small detail in the grand scheme of the game. But because this detail is so early on in the game, it informs so much of which follows. And it is already doing that, as Wam loses so much efficiency, pulling the villagers out there and getting nothing for it. Now Wam, he's going into Pro Scouts. Oh no. I'm just getting flashbacks to the Puppy Paw series we watched earlier. Now, something he needs to be very careful of. We've already seen his bro fall victim to it in a deciding game. When you use Pro Scouts, when you return these deer, you need to be very careful about where you put them. Because there is a bug currently to do with villagers interacting with sheep and then moving across to deer or back the other way. When they do this, I believe it's actually deer to sheep. When they go from a deer to a sheep, they get locked in gathering animation, capped at 10 food. They can never drop off and they can't be controlled anymore. So Wam, I hope he's aware of this. Fingers crossed Puppy Paw was able to review the VOD from the other day and quickly just relay this information to Wam. Because it's very easy to not notice 2 or 3 of your villagers idling underneath your TC when they're clustered like this. Nice burn by DeMusliM, using the scouts efficiently. Does mean he's not denying the income, but I don't know if DeMusliM actually expects this just because of what I just mentioned. A lot of players have already become aware of this bug and the fact that like it's not worth going in to the Pro Scouts because of it, unless you build and take them to the mill separate. By the way, just to recap, because I'm noticing some people are going to freak out and be like, what? Why was he attacking on the gold line? Well, for a start, the ruling, there is a rule to do with scouts. Right now, scouts, because they're attack speed, they can interrupt villagers gathering. You are banned from using your scouts to harass villagers in the Dark Age. Once your opponent reaches feudal, it's fair game. Even without that being in mind, like he was spending a lot of time harassing mining camps, which is nothing against. It's just this, the scouts are not allowed to attack villagers in Dark Age. And I love that balance choice, right? Like, it was broken. It was actually very exploitable. The way they chose to pivot and balance this, the ruling that EGC made, was incredibly reasonable. Because a lot of the time, people are going to be up in feudal age by 5 minutes. So it's actually not stunting too much the game. It's just stopping an incredibly cheesy strategy that basically across the board, almost every single player agreed was not fair. Look at this. This is just not fair for Wam. So he lost the idle economy efficiency, right? Like all those villagers running around doing nothing. Outpost didn't go up. He's invested in knights that can't dive. And DeMusliM, he's condensed himself efficiently. So he's going up into castle. He's going to be full tech ahead. Wam is not going to be ready for this. The timing is off. Like, look what Wam has done. Wam thought this was going to be feudal aggression. This is the worrying part, actually. When you look at the vision game, this is another weakness of Pro Scouts. Because Wam went for Pro Scouts, he wasn't actually relaying information on DeMuslim's build. He was playing blind. Never play blind AoE 4, because we don't give you walking sticks here, and you're probably going to trip and fall down some stairs, which is what's about to happen as Wam gets the bad news. A whole age behind. Not even close. And also the scouts forcing him to ditch and run, dropping off the carcasses in the middle of no man's land. Oh, this stings. And this is something we've seen. It's a very big change. Ever since Pro Scouts got nerfed and people stopped going for it so much, people got phenomenal at utilizing early game vision. They caught up with the StarCraft boys. But in this situation, Wam looks miles behind. He was a StarCraft lad himself. And he still doesn't know what's happening in the base because he's using the knights. This is another weakness, right? Like when you have knights in this situation, you kind of lull yourself into a sense of security. You choose to roam with knights, use the scouts to return equity to your base, And you're not actually seeing what your opponent is doing. He still doesn't know what the production buildings are. He's hesitant as well. We can see it very clearly. It's double racks, double archery range. But by the time Wam realizes it, it may be a little bit too late. Charge in. Blocked off by the scouts. No value gained. Wam is 4 eco units ahead, but DeMusliM is about to start gathering up those relics. You can see he's already producing into the warrior monks. These knights are not actually finding the value they needed. Meanwhile, DeMusliM has somehow snaked a bunch of spears all the way across to his opponent's base. We won't find too much value here. The intent was to deny the scouts. You can see there's only 1 deer carcass remaining, though, so he missed his window of opportunity. He still feels confident about this game, and no. Move past the spears. DeMusliM playing a little game of Ring of Roses around the poses. It looks like he was actually going for the play out into the deer, but there's not many left. This also could be the deer pool. It's a long run, but like, I think his intent is to get the food here. Yeah, you can see he's actually looking for any value he can find, and he's realizing very quickly Pro Scouts has been played into. So he'll drop the hunting cabin here for the stone gold generation. Only 1 resource left to go through there. And then he's going to have the food gathering here. And it's plentiful, right? It's 1,500 resource on top of the deer. So overall, he's got about 2,650 resources here to play with. Wait, was it 2,550? 2,550 resources. My numbers are getting closer. They are improving. Good job, me. Pat self on head. DeMusliM's patting himself on the head right now. He's feeling good about this game. Relics are being gathered up. Wam can't do anything right now. The best thing you can do is try to aggress these pocket ecos, which DeMusliM is investing in, but his military count, it's not that far ahead. And now DeMusliM's getting into the quality. Horse archers haven't really been called that for a long time by roost spammers. But in this situation, it feels good. You can react easily to the knights. You can catch the archers and spears out of position. And also, as Wam extends out beyond his initial reach, these lines become a little bit loose. These wood lines especially start to kind of thin over, right? It's the old balding man approach as you start to lose your trees. And once you do, these horse archers can just poke and prod freely without even having to wrap around to see you. DeMusliM will just peel back for the moment. He could tank with the scouts. It's not worth it, though. You don't want to give the bonus damage over the raw knights. That's what you're waiting for. The moment the lancers go down, even if he gets in range, he's not getting the bonus damage for the several seconds afterwards, right? So it's a big edge. Which, by the way, this did get tweaked, because if I recall correctly, this used to be 3 seconds. I've said 3 seconds enough that it must have been. It used to be that you gained bonus damage for 3 seconds. It seems that they increased that to 5. I think it actually was a tooltip error. I think it might have always been 5. Wam. Postured, ready to tech up now. DeMusliM looking to take a fight. Warrior Monk able to poke from behind the front line. Spears moving in as well, and it looks like the horse archer is going to peel off and chase after the archers on foot. Spears trying to keep those knights at bay. It's very awkward. You can see Wam, he wants to get on top of him. That's the premium unit to take out. Trades at the moment are favoring Wam because his horse archers don't attack as quickly. Although they do have more damage per unit. Pick up the relic. DeMusliM will start to shift back. Needs to be careful. He can't even go for a wall. Just has a ditch and run. Nice efficient play there. Spears distract the archers. In the meantime, horse archers try to pick apart the remaining knights. Wam, he's at least delaying the relic gathering, but you have to remember that DeMusliM has more than 1 warrior monk. So he already has 3 of the 5. And he'll easily get this 4th one. It's very hard for Wam to take this away. I don't even know if Wam wants to play into relic gathering himself. It'd be a mistake because look what DeMusliM's done. He actually snuck past him. So this could easily be a 5 relic game. At which stage we start talking about like the balance of economy, the fact that DeMusliM is already ahead dominantly in every field, like only the gold is competitive. And yet the eco leaders with Wam. This does not bode well unless Wam can strike in and find eco kills. Taking out military, trading blow for blow is not going to cut it because at this rate, DeMusliM will outscale him. And with this secondary TC, he looks to ensure that. A TC that's more like a tee-hee-hee here because Wam still doesn't have any way of knowing. He continues to play the game fully blind. And this is a dangerous way to play. I mean, right now, Wam is kind of just playing Russian roulette with himself. Would not recommend. And as the pressure lets up, this is the concerning point because DeMusliM will start to do what the French do in feudal age. Horsey boys, time to kill some villies. And with them each doing 13 damage and no textiles upgrade, just 4 of them, will one-hit kill a villager. It's definitely a problematic situation. A nice use of the horse archers with 13 damage, easily able to strike and get the ball. Extra 75 gold for nothing for DeMusliM. Now, he doesn't have enough to go up for the tier 3 bounty, but it's still extra gold, right? For free, because he wasn't doing anything else with the archers anyway. Wam, this might be his best opportunity. Veteran Royal Knights, strong enough that they can just insta-clunk down units with the 1-2 tap. But he needs to find value. The problem is DeMusliM, the layout of his base, everything being condensed from the gathering points to the building structures. There's nothing that's really sticking out. Now, you can use that to your edge because your opponent doesn't have the same amount of vision as you might otherwise. But he also does have enough time to react and pull back when you come in, which is why Wam makes this move. He's going to try to distract on the front and dive in, but the dive in is mistimed here. DeMusliM with the peel back is able to garrison just in time. Wam will try to punish him, but spears are there, ready to hold him in the choke point. Wooden fortress is being constructed. No entry point for Wam. And the pincer is in position. But what can it pinch? Knights riding into the choke point. Crossbows need to be a little bit careful. Villager is going to be sniped out by the archers. He's going to force the peel back. Siege Workshop does get interrupted. Big deal for Wam. And Wam, oh my god! He doesn't go for it. He doesn't know. Wam, he has to. This is such good value. He has the scout. He sees him. Instead, he hesitates. He goes in for the fight. He doesn't take out the villagers. He does not want to lose the archers, and instead, he just might lose the battle anyway. So many horse archers here. So much damage coming out. And look at the micro coming out. DeMusliM focusing on 2 targets instead of 1. Healthy, 85 health per unit compared to the 70 health for the archers. Big mistake made. Wam, he misses the opportunity to strike at the eco lines. Too hesitant of what DeMusliM would have done with the horse archers afterwards. And instead, he takes an unfavorable fight here. His troops will be cleaned up. Casualties kept to a minimum for DeMusliM. Kills starting to even up. And the villagers will live. DeMusliM dodges death. And he'll say, thank you very much. It's like, Wam, I don't know why you didn't kill him. But thank you. Wam, I know you're playing the French, but the honor system doesn't extend to this. Enemy villages are free targets. You don't need to say they're unarmed. They are. I've seen them. Look the damage these lads have. 12 damage. All right, that is an armed civilian. That is a insurgent right there. You're allowed to kill him. And he would have killed so many as well. So many villages there. Only room for 8. Wam missed a golden opportunity to flip the table and turn this game around. Just look at it as well, like the eco difference that would have made. Because right now, like with 3 relics, make that 5 relics total banked. That's 12.5 additional villages for DeMusliM. In terms of, on top of passive gold, increased gathering rates. Like he's ahead economically of that Wam. And Wam, he could have completely flipped the game with that move. Hey. Problematic scenario now as he goes on the defensive. And although you can see the military counts are somewhat close, the difference is what they've invested in, right? A lot of Wam's force is now just archers. No longer knights. As knights, they're struggling to gap close on these horse archers. Up to 14 damage, with only 5 of that being reduced. These units die fast. Now the keep, as Wam is running out of resources in his own base. We talked about this point in the game. This is where it gets pricey. Just to try and move out to these different areas, you're going to have to invest a lot in defenses. Otherwise, you will get dynamic raids coming in from the Horse Archer Battalion. Remember that DeMusliM is out booming him. I believe Wam did get eyeballs on the second TC. He ran scouts past it earlier, so he should understand the situation he's in. I think possibly that's why he didn't want to go for the villages. He thought it wasn't going to be good enough because his opponent has 2 town centers. But like the fight isn't a better alternative there. Like you've got Royal Knights, sure. But your opponent has horse archers and crossbows. You're not getting through him quickly. It's why we now find ourselves in this awkward state for Wam. He'll try to redeem himself quickly. Out-militarying DeMusliM again. And DeMusliM has got the siege, though. And you built a lot of archers. Speaking of archers, on horseback, in they come. Wam, oh no. This is going to sting. There's so many villagers here. He'll peel them back. That formation shuffling, saving the day again. I tell you, folks, if that formation shuffle ever gets removed from the game, holy smokes, these type of misplays are going to be punished a lot heavier. Because if it wasn't for that, Wam probably loses 5, 6, maybe even 7 villages. It's the redeeming quality for him. Keeps him alive, and he needs to be alive. DeMusliM, wanting to be alive, is going to be going into the boys' fortitude now, increasing all the cavalry's health by 20. An effective increase to the horse archers, basically a 25% increase in health. Makes them pretty bulky. And DeMusliM, I wonder if he's considering going further in. You know, do you dive into the rabbit hole? Do you come out the other side, Imperial? Wam's got to be thinking the same thing, right? Like, in this situation, he's not out-ecoing. He could try to out-tech, because he's definitely not out-military scaling. They're matching each other neck and neck. Well, that's going to be freebie on the Warrior Monk. I think you've been drinking a little bit too much vodka, mate. Take a time out. Got his value, though. Sacred Sight's been capped for, like, what, at least a minute now, so he should have returned his cost. As you get 100 gold per minute with those Sacred Sights. And, well, the Warrior Monks only cost a mere 120, 100 of which is gold. And here comes the garrison. Oh, no, the villagers, Wam! They were all trying to garrison. Talk about Simon Says. Anything one does, the rest want to do. Does cost him 1 or 2 horse archers, but once again, chip damage being done. Wam starting to fall behind the eco department. And all that's just buying time as DeMusliM starts to wheel out the siege. Siege that we haven't seen out of Wam yet. He's still not going for any. And most of his army formation is archers. He's got about, what, 12 knights? And they're out of position. They actually went into the economy lines. DeMusliM is going to react. What's the damage going to be? Wam, he could split up to look for clues here and just get maximum impact. Instead, he wraps around together onto the wood line. Straight in. And by the time DeMusliM realizes he's going to take heavy casualties here, pulls them back now. The count is going to be good enough because while that's happening, look what DeMuslim's doing. He's going in. Benny Boy forward with the keep. Mangonel's in spiral control. And Wam, he still doesn't have the answer. And also now his knights, they're away from base. Yes, they're doing some eco damage, but the issue right now is this many knights will not end the game. This many Mangonels could. This rune upgrade has been frustrating. Outpost will go down. Mangonel instantly timed perfectly to take out more villagers. 69 for Wam, 76 for DeMusliM. And now spears finally being produced. Crossbows as well. The rune upgrades will force Wam away into another pocket eco. But DeMusliM should be paying attention this time, so should be a freebie on the garrison. And look what Wam's done. Wam, I don't know how this mad lad does it. I kept looking around his base. I was like, there's got to be a second TC here. Surely, no. This is all one TC play. He is going to crack Imperial Age before DeMusliM. And it's because DeMusliM invested in the siege and the fort keep. It slowed him down. It made him not as scalable at this stage. And it means that Wam soon will have the technological advantage, looking to keep the eco lead as well. As he moves in with the villagers. 75 health means that they're not easy to take out, so knights will have to peel off. They didn't get the charge out in time. And he will retreat back to his territory, but this was all part of the plan. Wam, you phenomenal bugger here. He drags attention all the way back to DeMuslim's base, meaning now when he techs up, there's nothing vulnerable. There's nothing exposed. He's safe. He's cackling. He's smiling right now. The eco lead is kept within 10 of each other, 83 to 73. And while that may slightly be an advantage for DeMusliM, the difference maker now is the tech. DeMusliM, if he wants to catch up, it's a hefty investment, 3,600 resources to get up. Especially when you consider how much siege he built. So instead, what does DeMusliM do? He alls in. It's not one of the Benny classics, though. The villagers are still working. They haven't moved to the front line just yet. Because he understands that he can do a lot of damage without having to bring the serfdom into the matter. Mangonels will slowly take out the buildings one by one. Moves in with the Molotovs burning down onto the man-at-arms. Wam, deterred. He can't get in. The keep from DeMuslim's on point. The stone gathering put to good use. He's protected his flanks. This is a smart adaptation. Ben, he learns from the mistake before. He doesn't leave himself accessible on the sides. He walls himself in, puts keeps down, and now creates a funnel point. If Wam wants to get in his base, he has to go straight through DeMusliM. And right now, he can't afford to. Heavy reliance on archers now coming out. The golden hat upgrades there, 10 damage per shot. But these man-at-arms, they can reduce a lot of that, turning it only to 4 damage per shot. And the Mangonels, with 4 of them, the damage on their per shot. Uh-oh, heavy hits in, heavy damage done. Wam has to try and protect the Culverin. The Culverin be forced away. And look at the pool of villagers, so many coming around. Springles will turn around to address the knights as they will fall. And the end of that, a good trade so far for DeMusliM. Springles move in. Culverin is protected for the moment. Horse Archer's trying to pepper into it. Is going to trap the fire of the archers. The Mangonels keep wheeling. They get in range again. The second round of shots come in. Heavy hit. Doesn't finish off any additionals though. Man-at-arms now chasing in, looking on the Culverin. Will turn around. And the second Culverin, which is exposed. Mangonels, they keep wheeling back. This many villages. DeMusliM, is he going to target them? Heavy damage can be done here. He's reloading. Can he get the final shot out? No. They peel off to the side. They dodge it. Beautifully done. Wham! He keeps the villagers alive. And he keeps his hopes in this game alive with it. DeMusliM, after all that, did not find the critical value. Wam will live to fight another day, and he still has the tech up advantage. Oh my god, Wam. There's a glitch in the Matrix. A 1 got changed to an O. And Neo has emerged because that dodge on the villagers just changed everything. If he hits that shot, the eco lead that DeMusliM built at that stage means that he can scale up into Imperial unhinged and unhindered. But now, in this situation, to put it actually correctly, he is going to be slightly hinged because Wam has a standing force. He has the Rule Culverins coming out as well. He has a defense force. He stays alive. And it means that DeMusliM, this game is not going to be as simple as he'd hoped. That is without textiles, by the way. That's the phenomenal part about that. Wham. Tempting fate. It didn't even need to be that close to begin with. But he keeps the difference close. And now, after dodges like that, we are really asking the question, in conjunction with the rest of this game, is Wam the chosen one? The more important question, is DeMusliM Agent Smith? As he slowly whispers into Wam's ear, now that we're both in Imperial, victory is inevitable, Mr. Wamson. But that's just simply not the case anymore. Heavy nerfs, remember. The banded arms tech now only gives you a 0.5 range advantage as the Rus. It's down from that 1.5 differential. And it means that the siege advantage you used to have isn't as clear anymore, especially now you're up against Rule Culverins that can just one-tap and obliterate you. Remember, these Rule Culverins do 20% more damage than a regular Culverin. And this play, I mean, it doesn't often look good. Going into the College Artillery over the Red Pass. Red Pass almost always feeling better, like at least 90% of the time. But he's proven a case for it. By the way, some people were asking my opinion on Banded Arms. Let me give you the simple summary. Mongols got buffed. Because their tower range still gets increased more. So actually, this weirdly enough, this change skewed the Rus-Mongol matchup. So now the Mongols have 0.5 more tower range than the Rus. But at least they nerfed other things about the Mongols. We won't focus on that too much as they're not in this matchup. Instead, we have to focus on the French. And the French didn't get too many changes, right? There's very superficial changes for the most. There's 1 or 2 bugs that got fixed. But outside that, the French were probably the most untouched civ of the entire patch. The most notable change that could be of advantage as we transition further is if he goes into Arbre de Triers. Arbre de Triers, their Pavis was broken before, so they were getting... They were meant to get 5 extra armor when they dropped Pavises, their shields. But it was bugged, so it was changing their armor value to 5. It was terrible. They fixed that, so if we get to that stage in the game where there's a transition into heavy units and Arbre de Triers, end of the fray, it could sustain Wam a little more. Outside that, yeah, nothing else really. Even the devs are like, you're in France. I don't want to get into that one. It's already a complicated enough civ with the amount of buffs we gave it at the start of the game. And everything has just quieted down now. This series is tense, folks. Remember, this is an elimination. Best of 3. Both of these players are hungry for more points. Wam already establishing a strong point at the top of the leaderboards after round 1, but he wants to get further up. And DeMusliM, big upset for him. I believe it's sort of that managed to eliminate him in the first round. So he's not even in the top 12, I believe. Definitely shaking his fist over that one. And these Culverins, they're doing a lot of damage. Bombard, though. Uh-oh. Greedy placement from Wam. Needs to be careful. Those are pricey. As his Royal Cannon will go down. Remember, these will cost 1,000 resource. Now, this is what I mean by the difference, right? Springals, they're at 12.5 range. Culverins at 12. This was a phenomenal change, actually. It's very important. I think the Mongols is maybe a little bit too strong still. Maybe it should come down to 0.5 as well. Because the issue I did see is, like, while Culverin is a faction-specific unit, not every civ can build this siege unit. Considering the speed of Springals compared to Culverins, like the price of Springals compared to Culverins, it was almost impossible to justify this for a lot of civs. But now, with these changes, I mean, Wam might be making an argument for the return of the College Artillery. Something that nobody necessarily would have expected about a week ago when the Red Palace was just seen everywhere. Tech ups coming out, a lot of them as well. Let me switch up into bombards. I believe we did get Typh Barns, so yeah, look at this. This is glorious. We don't see it. We never used to see it because it was a little bit buggy, but it's starting to get picked up a lot more. I think it's about 500 gold, if I recall correctly, for Typh Barns. And what it does for you is it gives you a small trickle of different resources. You can see he's getting 30 wood, 30 food, and 20 stone per minute for each relic he has. By the way, this is still bugged. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I read in the patch notes, the stone is meant to be 30. It was bugged and not 15 before, and they said they'd fixed it and put it to 30. Now, there's 2 relics in this monastery, guys. I don't want to turn this into Sesame Street, where we do a little bit of counting, but can you work out how much stone that is per relic? Number's still a little bit off, I'm afraid.
No.
I mean, honestly, if that maths is correct, whoever coded this, I want them to be my accountant, because I'll save a hell of a lot on taxes. Game's got really quiet all of a sudden. DeMusliM starting to play towards those sacred sites, but he can't access the east side one. Wam's already worn up, remember? Some of the roofs cannot do at this stage of the game. Stone walls. And the only way you're getting through them is with some good old siege. Siege that can't afford to be displaced right now, as the limited resource at the moment is going to be the population cap. This Royal Culverin line is just increasing. Oh, man, just seeing this many cannons in a line, it just kind of gives me Cossacks vibes, right? Can I enter them in formation, sync up their shots? As a boomer reference, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's that old. Although, do old people ever think they're that old? I mean, this meta is feeling a little bit old, isn't it? At least Royal Culverins is mixing it up a little, as opposed to just Springles and Trebs and Springles and Trebs. Somehow, we are 32 minutes in a game between the French and the Rus, and we haven't seen a trebuchet yet. Yeah. Never thought I'd be saying that one. But we are seeing the bombards, and this offers up a new opportunity, an opportunity that was taken by DeMusliM, and you'll see it on the attack speed. He's reduced the attack speed by 20%, so 4.2 seconds instead of the 5. Nice booster. So if they both go hard with the cannons, he can even up the edge. That gives him similar DPS. Now, Culverin trade out is good right now for Wam. Remember, the Sprint was half the price of the Culverins. And he's with 2 for 1, and right now you can see how he's trying to shift the range, but it's not good enough. Culverins, turn and burn. Take another one with him. The final rounds of fire coming out. Nice micro. Wham! He takes the edge there. Loses 2 of his Culverins and kills, judging by the splattering, 8 Springles. So for those who followed the maths there, that's a 2 for 1-er as he ends up making DeMusliM burn 4,000 resource for the 2,000. God, my brain went on pause for longer than the fight there for a second. Such a damn good artillery as well. 12 missile resistance makes it very hard to like efficiently tap down. Whereas when you talk about the Culverin, with so much bonus damage, they can just target one and take it out. The only exception to that rule, of course, is the Springles from the Chinese. From National Clock Down. Oh my god, look at the move in. The Knights. They got close, they stick to it. Streltsy in the mixer in the meantime for DeMusliM, but Wam quick to peel off. Snipes out some siege, makes his retreat. A worthwhile exchange as well. He lost, what, 5, possibly 6 Knights to kill off 3 siege weapons. However, his keep did go down. A frustrating state of affair for Wam. But he did deny a lot of gold here. Almost half that gold vein gone. And that is gold that is meant to be DeMusliM's side of the map. And I believe there isn't much gold left, actually. It's just over in this area. A small vein over here that's been ignored, but... okay, we have got another one at the back. So overall, Wam is getting really good extraction from the map. DeMusliM's getting a little bit ripped off. Like, it's almost like he's a bit content because he has infinite gold, which is true, right? You know, gold never runs out. We go hyper late game. You've got 5 relics. But in the meantime, it does mean that Wam's getting better net income. It's going to get better if he can snipe out a bunch of villagers trying to build up walls. Hand cannoneers and archers in the mixer. Archers are a solid solution right now due to the composition that DeMusliM's invested in. In fact, it's a phenomenal solution because remember, not only do they get the bonus damage against the spears, but also the Streltsy only have 4 tower range compared to your 5. I actually am so turned around upon what we've seen in the last week. A lot more players have been investing in archers in hyper late game situations. I never would have expected this without a serious change because archers didn't seem like an optimal unit choice. in terms of the cost, they seem good. But then you remember wood is the liquid gold of the late game. More so than that, you were expecting archers to appear sooner due to the fact that spears were so popular in late game. But it actually took what felt like 3, 4, possibly 5 weeks for that to actually be the case. But now that they are here, we can see how good they are, especially against the composition from DeMusliM. Here we go. Archers trying to stay out of range. Mangonels trying to roll forward here. Wrap around from the spears. Archers get their bonus damage there. Good fight for them. Knights think twice about rushing into the Streltsy line. They do heavy damage here. And Knights just trying to throw away 1 or 2 to protect the Archers on retreat. Archers start stepping back, being rolled away by the Mangonels. Wam trying now to build in the keep. Needs to get out of here, but he's slowed down. The issue he's got right now is he hasn't peeled the hand cannons out of the formation, which means the Archers aren't moving at 1.25, they're moving at 1.12. And wrap around, look at this. Uh-oh. Wam trying to go around the back. Crossbows of Streltsy doing heavy damage here. Mangonel's going to be back to the side, but the bombard fixates on the keep. It will be denied. Wam, Culverins are a little bit too slow to arrive at this fight. Mago shots coming in. Heavy hits. Wam, his army is going to be wiped. Needs to be careful. Culverins coming in. Goes to the trade out. Culverins, which can then, after they've done with the siege, target onto this military force. Remember, they do 102 damage per shot. That means that they turn these units into bowling pins. And at the end of that, despite what looked like a good fight for DeMusliM, the end result is actually fairly even. Heavy damage done to both sides, but DeMusliM, he's building up huge amounts of reserves. Food, wood is good. Stone needs to be sorted, but gold will also catch up quickly due to the passive income. And that income number for Wam will slowly sink down as he's starting to run out of gold to extract, right? He's onto this gold vein here. That's almost done with. Already extracting the back one. He needs this center mass. And DeMusliM, with him being on stone like this, I think he's showing us his intent. He says no gold for you. Probably going to be a keep dropped where Wam tried to plop his. I like the way that DeMuslim's carved this up as well. This is very much his playstyle. I've seen this time and time again from him, especially when he plays Dry Arabia with the Rus. He tends to try and hold his corner, wall himself in a little bit, and then he chops out another chunk of the map. Which is what he's done here, right? Like, he takes a quarter, then when he's comfortable about the state of the game, he takes the other quarter. And because he's forcing awkward exchange regularly from Wam, it means that Wam's draining his resources into these fights a lot quicker than DeMusliM. Something that's just catalyzed by the fact that he's got Ty Barnes with 5 relics. Like, this is the dream if this turns into an hour-long game. But still, Raw Culverins, are they the saving grace? How much can they really do here? So far, DeMusliM is running a very static formation. Should he ever transition into cavalry, that's when Wam's in trouble. In fact, because he just keeps relying on these archers, in theory, DeMusliM could find some value going into horsemen to just try and snipe out the Culverins in conjunction with this. And oh, speaking of sniping out, Springles go ignored. Culverins are dying, has to roll away. Trades, not the worst in the world for Wam, but still slightly better for DeMusliM. And Knight's not able to gap close quick enough, so it looks like Springles going to stay alive. Bombard's also rolling up. Treb's finally coming out at 38 minutes in the game. And Wam needs to be careful. This map's going to get small very soon. Walls going up, the cheeky solution to the Springles. Remember, Springles cannot shoot over even half-constructed stone walls. However, how many villagers have to die for this? With that few Streltsy in range, a lot is the answer. Here they come. Round the side, spears, Streltsy in. Knight's trying to ride through. Wall's going to go down, more villagers going to die. And the bombards, there's just so many of them. There's no way you're able to hold this wall up for long. Wham. Still stuck here, though. He can't flank. He would love to flank these knights right now, deep into the eco lines of DeMusliM, but that's the issue. It's too deep. This is all due to the way DeMusliM has now negotiated the map. He carved his corner, he took another corner. Now he has equilibrium at the mid section with a lot of static defenses. It means that Wam's going to be seen early, and also because the posturing of DeMuslim's army, it's half the distance to run. He can be straight into Wam's base when Wam is only just arriving at DeMuslim's. And if that is the exchange you take, one side has a lot of bombards to blow through quickly. More walls, trying to keep him alive, but Wam, he's struggling to re-reach pop cap. A lot of idle villagers here as well, just trying to rebuild the walls. He's like, quick, get him back up! The Springles are actually just sniping him down. Honestly, I feel like, you know, by modern standards, this is just a small cart with a sniper with a Barrett 50 cal sitting on top of it. As he's still finding a gap, no, the wall! Oh my god, it didn't disappear yet, and he couldn't actually build it up. The corner going down worked against him, but now it looks like it's going to even up. Spring gets sniped out. However, the wraparound for the crossbow, but not on point for DeMusliM. Not good exchanges, but the rest of the wall going down gives access, and the bombards will breach and wipe Wam's forces here. That military count is getting a rather small rather quickly. I mean, this Wam, the issue with this is he's retreated to the east side of the map. But everything that DeMusliM needs to win is on the south side. Now, this is the one good piece of info, right? Wam's doing this trade, DeMusliM doesn't know. You want to know the bad info? These trade post locations are not optimal. In fact, he'll wish he was on DeMuslim's side for maximum range, but that's one of the concerns here. I think that's why we don't really see Dry Arabia as a good trade map, is because to get maximum distance on trade, you'd have to build here and then go to your opponent's side. It's not like High View when you're spoiled with it being in the other corner. But for now, it's what Wam needs to keep him alive. Remember, DeMusliM is much better laid, much better insulated, right? Reserve gold still, plus the passive trickle of gold coming out from the relics, means he doesn't have to make the same suboptimal play. Knights in. I say he doesn't need to, but it looks like he was planning to. Yeah, DeMusliM, he just started the trade. The Knights do spot it out. Wow. I don't think he sniped too much. It looks like he was always pop capped. So, unfortunate for Wam, if he timed this another 2-3 minutes later, he actually kills a lot of traders here, as it was only just starting to build up. You'll at least snipe out a few more villages. Now, the issue with losing these traders, folks, is they cost a hefty amount of wood, remember. You can see it on the cost there. 75 wood, 75 gold. Now, you know, the gold, you kind of return it yourself, right? But it's the wood that's going to sting for DeMusliM. Yes, you are efficient with wood, with the Wooden Fortress influence giving you an additional 20% wood drop-off. But it's still a limited resource, right? So the argument could be that as the game goes hyper late, like the Rus do start to lose their economical benefits. They do at least have the relics, though. However, the French, they have a little bit more bang for buck, right? Because they're able to get more value. They can exchange and trade into different types of resources. But right now, let's not focus on that. DeMusliM, he breaches through the wall. Archer's going to meet him. Spin being taken down quickly. Villagers trying to rebuild the walls, but no, he can't. The Streltsy are here. And the Streltsy are massacring them. Bombards in the meantime, turn him into Bolden Bolts. Springall sniping around the side, not able to finish off the Culverin. More troops arriving. Wall trying to be constructed, but he only gets one chunk up. Mangonel's now rolling in. That's the difference maker. He needs the Culverins to address that, but he can't. Instead, the Streltsy to get in range. Instantly snipes down. 50+ damage straight in to the siege line, and it's just dead. And with it, it looks like Wam might be dead. There is no way he can rebuild quick enough. His income's too low. His army count is sinking. Meanwhile, DeMusliM is rising. Game 1 will be secured by Benny Boy.